Oh man, what's going on, y'all? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Son, and I'm back with episode 2 of the Sun Room podcast. And today, man, we just gonna be talking about trust issues. The reason why I wanted to talk about trust issues is because it has been a reoccurrence in so many different relationships. Even in my relationships, it has been a very common thing, especially in the black community. And I just wanted to touch bases on it or give my opinion on it when it comes to it, because there's so many different things that can arise from trust issues, man. So in this episode, we're gonna be talking about my past experiences. We're gonna be talking about different ways that you can navigate through trust issues and become a better partner or become a better individual for yourself. We also going to be talking about what else we're going to be talking about. Just this childhood upbringings, man, and recent betrayals or previous betrayals that you've had, that I've had, or whatever the case may be. We're going to be talking about all these different things in this next episode called Trust Issues, man. And this episode is called Can I Trust You with My Issues? So let's get into it, man. Let's get right into it. I'm not going to waste no time. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to be very direct and very, straightforward when it comes to, my process and different things of how I interpret, trust issues. So with that being said, like first of all, I want to start off by apologizing for the echo in my audio on my last podcast. That won't happen anymore. I also want to talk about the structure of my podcast. The structure won't necessarily be any skits or anything like that anymore. I think I'm gonna veer away from that. I think I was trying to be too creative, and I think I was trying to stretch my podcast longer than what it needed to be by creating these skits and these scenarios or whatever the case may be. But I think that for this first episode and for this first season, I just need to get straight to the punch and get straight to the information and get straight to my process. So the skits they're okay, they good or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, like, having to rely on people and, sometimes you relying on people to shoot and all that stuff, like it gets kind of choppy. And so I don't necessarily want to have, my releases or anything like that be dependent upon other people or something that's out of my control or something that's out of my reach. So the skits are going to be, like, I'm going to veer away from that for right now. I do plan on doing skits and keeping that a part of my creative process, but as far as it being like a part of my podcast, I'm not gonna incorporate that into my podcast anymore. So you can just only expect for me to just be talking to you and give you, just feedback and give you the feedback and give you things that I've actually experienced or whatever when it comes to whatever topic that I'm actually talking about. And I want to be able to put that out on a consistent basis. And sometimes doing skits can, get in the way of that. So With that being said, man, let me get to my notes. I think trust is a very is one of the pillars, and it's also one of the main foundations when it comes to a successful relationship. I don't think that you can have a relationship without having trust. I think that you have to be able to trust your partner and be able to trust yourself as well, because a lot of times, trust is such a fragile and very delicate thing, because it takes so much to do to earn, but then it only takes one thing to shatter it or to break it or whatever the case may be. So it's very fragile, man, and I think that we should definitely talk about trust more in relationships. And sometimes trust, is the thing that is maybe keeping, your relationship at a certain level when it could, go higher. We are in a generation where um a lot of people are scared to commit, and a lot of people are scared to um get into relationships just because they have trust issues, and just because they have previous experiences of somebody doing them wrong, or them putting their feelings on the forefront, and then somebody walking all over it. And so um a lot of times we get stuck in these situationships to where uh you are kind of stuck between, do I want to commit to this person, or do I want to just be comfortable and be in this space where I don't necessarily have to commit. But the thing about that is, it still contributes to the thing about being in situationships is that it still contributes to your trust issues. And one of the things that I have experienced is that when I am stuck in that space of, okay, what do I do now? Or what do I, what do I, how do I process me getting into a relationship with this person? Or how do I process the next step? Um, I think about my intentions. A lot of times we can trust ourselves if we know what our intentions are. Once you lose sight of your intentions, I think that's when trust becomes very fragile, and you don't know what you're doing. And I don't think that I don't. I'm really trying to think, because I don't believe that trust is a emotional, nor do I think it's logical, nor do I don't think it's linear. Um, I think trust is something that you should want to do. Um, and if you aren't able to trust yourself, if you have had a history of messing up, or if you've had a history of failing, or if you've had a history of failed relationships, once you get into a relationship, or once you get into a situation where someone may be right for you, or that may be the right fit, you'll have a tendency to maybe sabotage it because you don't trust yourself, or you don't, and then you project that you don't trust your partner. So it's just a ball of confusion. um what else we talking about when it comes to trust? I mean, it's very complex, man. It's one of those things where, like I said, it's very hard to gain, and it's so easy to break, and then it's even harder to regain it once you have broken that trust. And a lot of times we get into this place where it's like we don't trust ourselves because of um I would say cognitive dissonance. And that's basically like you not being in, like you saying one thing, or you saying that you want one thing, but then the way that you maneuver in your actions and your behaviors don't uh they don't apply to what you said. And that's where a lot of times we have a tendency to self-sabotage. um I know for me, I've been in so many different situations, man. So many different situations, and so many different relationships, to where um I would tell somebody that, yeah, like, I want to be with you, like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it's like I do those things, and we're in a relationship or we in a situation, but I just haven't committed to them yet, and it's something that's holding you back from committing. Okay, so you know, my childhood, my past relationships, man, my past experiences, man, like, I just haven't, had the easiest road when it comes to trusting people. I think that I think that in my past relationships and in my past friendships, not just relationships, just because trust is uh, a very broad spectrum. Um, and so I found myself being in situations where, I would compromise who I am, or I would compromise my beliefs, and I would compromise my morals and my values and my principles, just to, one, maybe stay in this relationship, or maybe two, like, keep a friend around or whatever. It wasn't necessarily like people pleasing, but I think that I just put too much trust in people as opposed to putting my trust in God to give me the discernment on whether or not this person or this individual should be in my life. So it's been a rough road, man. Friends, backstab you, people will betray you, relationships, girlfriends, or whatever the case may be, cousins, people who you never thought that would do something like, betray you or stab you in the back, they have. And it really messes with you, man. It really messes up your thought process, because for so long you think that, dang, man, like, you think that this is the reality of something, or this is how things are going to be, or I don't necessarily have to question this individual when it comes to this, because I know that I wouldn't do it to them. So in return, like, I'm not even thinking about whether or not they'll do it to me. That has been my thought process for a long time when it came to relationships and when it came to friendships, or whatever the case may be. But as of as of maybe 2020, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, like, I just completely, annihilated that thought process, and I began to cut people off, and I began to realize that I have been putting myself in situations that compromise who I was, that compromise my beliefs. And because of that, I had a certain trust issues. I had trust issues because I didn't trust myself enough to make the discernment on whether or not to cut this person off or not. And that's very big, man. And so a lot of times, trust issues can come from, past experiences, and your upbringing, and, like I say, like, previous betrayals. And with my upbringing, I think that it became, you know I think that with my family dynamic, I have a tendency to not trust um men, or I have a tendency to not trust people, because I have a tendency to not trust people because of, the issues that I've dealt with my father, or whatever the case may be. And that can also, create certain trust issues that people aren't even aware of. Like, you may have this abandonment issue, or this abandonment wound that shows up in relationships, or that shows up in friendships, and you don't even know how to control it, because you're not even aware of it. It's just subconsciously like, dang, yeah, that person is always going to leave me. So then you start acting out the reality of that person leaving you, and while you're acting out that reality of that person leaving you, it becomes a self fulfilling prophecy. And like, that's just not healthy, that's not good, it's kind of dysfunctional. Because you may want someone to love you, you may want to be with someone, and you may want to work things out, whatever the issue may be. You may want to do that, but at the end of the day, like, you keep pushing this person away. um and so I think it takes a deeper look at yourself, or I think it takes a moment of, like, self-reflection to go back and think about all the times where you may have had trust issues, and you have to do the internal work. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so doing the internal work, like I said, you may have to self-reflect. And while you're self-reflecting, that can also be challenging because you have to relive certain moments of your past that maybe you thought that you was over. You have to relive certain moments of your past that maybe like you didn't even know that was, relevant to where you are in life now. And that could be an issue for you as well. So it's not, man, I'm telling you, like, the road to overcoming, you know what I'm saying, like, trust issues is, getting to a point where you have to do self reflection, and then as you're doing self reflection, you also have to do you have to analyze yourself as well, so that way moving forward you can know how to handle situations, and you can know how to handle relationships when it comes to just being able to trust somebody, man. Being able to trust somebody. um but another thing that we have to do is we have to be able to communicate those trust issues, man. We have to be able to talk about the different things that you've been through with, and not with everybody, don't get me wrong, like, you know what I'm saying, you definitely have to make sure that it is a safe space for you to talk about those things, because some people may use it against you, and that's where, you know what I'm saying, like, you have to be able to trust God in order to, you know get that discernment on whether or not I should even be vulnerable with this person, or I should even open up to this, or be transparent with this person, or be honest with this person. Like, all that stuff matters, man. But once you do create that safe space, I think that it is time for a lot of people to start communicating in a healthy way. You know what I'm saying, about their trust issues, and it could be certain wounds, and it could be certain battles that you're fighting, that the person that's on the other side that's receiving your words, like, they don't even know. So you may be having a whole battle with, like, your mom, or you may be having a whole battle with your father, but you're talking to the person that's across from you. You're talking to your significant other. You're talking to, your your partner. But the language that's coming out is a language that's coming from a place of of being hurt and being affected by, you know what I'm saying, like, something that someone else did in your past. And so you have to be able to communicate that without being accusative, or without, I don't even know if that's a word, but without accusing someone of, you know what I'm saying, like, doing that to you. You can say things like, I'm afraid that you're going to do this, or that I'm afraid that this is going to happen. And instead of saying, oh, well, I think that you're going, you know what I'm saying, cheat on me, or it's like, you can definitely, convey what you're trying to say in a different tone and in a different light, to where it's more receivable, and it's more receptive, I'm sorry, to your partner, because communication is a two-way street. I have to be able to talk to you and convey a certain message to you, but if I don't deliver that message to you in a certain tone, if I don't deliver that message to you in a certain light, then it's not going to be received well. And then on the other end, that person has to understand who you are and the things that you have been through in order to be able to convey that message to them. So it's very hard, man. It's not an easy task. It's not an easy task at all. Next, I want to talk about, I want to talk about this message, this sermon that I was watching, um, maybe like a week ago, or whatever the case may be, by Pastor Keon Henderson. And what he was saying was that, the enemy will try to attack you. And so how will the enemy try to attack you? He will try to attack you through your relationships. He will try to attack you through your family. He will try to attack you through the protection or the shield that you have over your life. And so the most important thing is remembering that you are important, and also knowing that you can still be important and not be seen. And how does that tie into trust issues? Because a lot of times we think that because we're not seen, or because we don't have the things that other people have, or because we're not in a certain place of our lives and other people are, um we think that we feel like we're inadequate, or we feel like we're not important. And that's just simply not the case. You know what I'm saying? He says sometimes you can still be anointed and it still not be your turn. And we have to be able to, like, trust God in knowing that, He is going to provide everything that I need. All I have to do is make sure that I am staying on the right course. Um, and so we go into the next part of the sermon, man. And I really was taking notes on it, and I just wanted to share with y'all. He said that sometimes you can have a good mission, but the way that you go about things is wrong. So you can have a good mission, but your method could be wrong. And so, with that being said, I give you an example. You could set out to do something great. You can set out to do something, very, very honorable. You can set out to do something very, very admirable. But if you don't take the right steps, or if you don't take the right procedures in doing the mission, then it can sabotage the entire mission. So, for instance, I could set out and say that I want to be in a relationship, and I always reverted back to being in a relationship. I can set out and say I want to be in a healthy relationship, but at the end of the day, how am I going about being in a healthy relationship? Who am I talking to? What type of individuals am I talking to? Where am I meeting these individuals? So, you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, like, everybody has their soulmate. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Healthy is very subjective, and it's very, geared towards your own interpretation, for sure. But you know, I can't say that I want to be in a healthy relationship and I know that I have problems, but I'm not going to therapy to get the help that I need. Or I can say that I want to be in a healthy relationship, but at the end of the day, like, I'm drinking and smoking majority of my time. So whenever we get into an argument, like, that's what I rely on. That's not a healthy relationship. So the method is definitely not the right way to go. But you can definitely want to have a good mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can definitely want to be in a space where, I want this. This is what I want, and this is what I desire. But that method is all messed up, man. And what happens is your mistrust for people ends up informing your method. So if I'm in a relationship with Shawty in 2017, and you know, she was going through my phone or whatever the case may be, and then she found something. Well, she didn't find anything. She went through my phone and she didn't find anything. That was a breach of trust. That was a breach of. At that point, the trust is starting to be shaky, and the foundation is not where it needs to be. Um, and so then I pick up that trait from her, and then I get into another relationship in 2023 or 2024 or 5 years from now, and I use that same method that she did. All I'm doing is bringing that mistrust that she had for me. I'm bringing that mistrust into my next relationship, and it misinforms, like, how you're supposed to approach things. It misinforms that. Um, Sometimes the mission that you go on could be undermined by the mistrust that you have. And the mistrust that you have is because me personally, the mistrust that I have is because I'm putting too much trust into people, and I'm putting too much trust into people's behaviors and people's actions, and different things of that nature. But I'm not necessarily putting my trust in God. I'm not necessarily putting my trust in God. Um, Sometimes you have to, pray to God and ask God to redeem yourself. Sometimes you have to pray to God and ask Him to creating you a clean heart, because so many different relationships have turned your heart cold, or it's turned your heart black, or it's hardened your heart, or it's made it cold, or whatever the case may be. So you definitely have to ask God to creating you a clean heart, man, because if you have been in relationships and you have been in situations or you have been in friendships where um you have been betrayed, or you have been stabbed in the back on multiple occasions, it can drive you to mistrust people and mistrust, and it can drive you to the point that your mistrust undermines your method, or undermines your method, and it undermines your mission as well, man. So uh I want to talk to people about just how to get through that, and how to process that, man. Like I said, like, being open, communicating to your partner, you know what I'm saying? That's why the episode is called "Can I Trust You with My Issues?" This is an issue that I have. Can I trust you with it? Talk to people about, what I mean, like, my different experiences, and I want to talk to people about, how I navigate through things, and the mistakes that I've made, and what I'm saying, like, the way that I have corrected those mistakes moving forward, man. I just want to be a vessel and be able to talk to anybody when it comes down to trust issues, man. Because this is not a certain audience. This is not for a certain audience. I think that this is very universal, and I think that everybody could potentially use, what I'm saying, like, this information at some point. So just, moving forward, man, we gotta make sure that we doing the right thing when it comes to our trust. And we gotta make sure that everything is copacetic, man. I hope that this episode, man, that shit loud. I hope this episode helps some people, especially in relationships, man. I hope that it helps people when it comes to, their own self journey, and the journey of self love. Trust yourself. Trust yourself, man. Do the work in order to trust yourself. Trusting yourself can really build your confidence. It can really build your self esteem. It can really build, you as an individual. It's definitely helped me. It's still a battle that I'm struggling with, but it's definitely helping me trust myself, man. And me having to trust myself comes from, like I said, doing the self reflection, and analyzing, what I'm saying, my behaviors and things of that nature. I want to thank everybody that watched this episode. I want to thank everybody who liked and subscribed the last episode. Your support means a lot to me, and I just want y'all to know that I am, staying on this journey, and I'm, trying to be consistent with it, man. So I definitely appreciate the feedback. I appreciate all the likes and all the shares and all the posts on the stories and different things of that nature, man. Like, it really is a driving force for me to, like, keep pushing and to keep going. I know that this is, whatever it is that I'm doing right now is bigger than myself. I know that what I'm doing right now is something that somebody wants to do, and they may be having the same struggles, or they may be having the same thoughts that I'm having, or that I had prior to me dropping my podcast. So I just gotta keep going for those people, man. I really hope that my vulnerability, I hope that my transparency, and I hope that my honesty could give you something, or give you a recipe that you could cook up, or a remedy that you could have for yourself, man. And I hope it's motivational. I hope it's very inspiring, because that's what I needed, So I'm just trying to be the thing that I needed for somebody else, and hopefully, we can build a bridge, and we can make that connection when it comes to, this journey of life, man, because it's not easy as people make it seem. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a process, man. So let's give it up to overcoming trust issues. Let's give it up to overcoming anxieties. Let's give it up to just conquering, a life, a day. You know what I'm saying? Or 24 hours, making it through 24 hours. Let's give it up for that. You know what I'm saying? Let's definitely give it up for that, man. Just making it through this 2023, man. Making it through 2022. Let's give it up for all of that, bro. Because it's not. Life is not. It's not easy, man. And you get what you put in. You get out of life what you put in. So let's put in the work. Let's put in the self journey. Let's put in the self love. Let's put in all of these good, let's put in all of these good things that will, when we look down the road, 20 years from now, or 5, 10, 20 years from now, we can say, oh dang, like this is when I started, and I remember when I put in the self love for myself. And be tuned for the third episode, man. We on the road with it. We definitely gonna, get it going. And so we love y'all, man. We love y'all, man. We keeping it the G way. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's doing what they need to do and processing life how they need to process it in order to become a better individual. We shouldn't be making the same mistakes that we made last year. God is telling you something. You're making the same mistakes you made last year. God telling you something. Something you need to be learning. Something that you're doing. Not that person, not the other person that's doing it. It's something that you doing. You know what I'm saying? So let's just end this year off with a bang. Let's end this month off with a bang, man. My birthday is in September 8th. Y'all put that on y'all calendar. And yeah, like we going up. You know what I'm saying? We're going up. I appreciate y'all, man. I wholeheartedly appreciate y'all. And shout out to, all the fam. Shout out to the family. Shout out to my friends. Shout out to my brothers that's pushing me and motivating me on a day-to-day basis to keep going and to keep, applying pressure when it comes to, dropping episodes and all these different things, man. Like, people really don't understand how much they really be meaning to me. So I gotta make sure that, they know that. And it's love, peace, man. So